Hey everybody, Mrs. Norris here. So now that we've signed into and connected with our class on Dbq Online and done a little walkthrough to become familiar with the annotation tools, let's get started on our Dbq. So our Dbq for this unit is, was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? And we've been talking quite a bit about American expansion west, and part of that the conflict that arose from that was with Mexico and territory that Americans thought that it was theirs under manifest destiny, and obviously Mexico had control over, so they thought it was theirs as well. Okay, so we're going to go from hook to buckets, which means we're going to start with the hook exercise and move to the buckets. I'll show you a little bit about how to do it, and then I'll pause the tutorial, have you finish, and then I'll tell you what to do next. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at the directions. It says log into Dbq Online. So we're going to go to, in a moment, go to Clever, and we're going to log in with our student ID. I'm going to log in with the teacher, and then we're going to connect with the Dbq Online. And then you're watching this tutorial to get yourself started. And when you're done, you have certain tasks that you need to do to show that you are finished and be able to move on to the next assignment. So let's take a look at this here. So I'm going to go ahead and you do the same thing. My suggestion to you is that you watch me do this first and then do it yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the blue Clever button, and then I am going to resize so that I can see both of them together. Okay, so I'm watching this tutorial here. See where it says tutorial? That's where this tutorial will be. And then I'm going to complete the steps in my other window. So if you could please pause this tutorial and do that, set up your screen the way that you see mine here, and then we'll pick it up again when you're done. All right, so you should have two windows open at the same time. In the one window, you're watching this tutorial, and in the other, you're following the steps, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna log in with the teacher login. If you're not already logged in, make sure you log in with Google. And then I'm gonna go to my Dbq project. And then I have to view my assignments. Yours should take you there already. And then you should click on view. So I'm going to wait for you for just a moment to catch up. So again, Clever, Dbq Online, and then your dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and click view. And we are on our first screen. So what I can actually do is minimize this just a little bit more. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I can see everything. So again, in the walkthrough, we walk through all of these tools, and then we have the directions of what we're going to be doing here. So this is our cover page. You're going to use a yellow sticky to type when the war happened, and all that information can be found in the overview. You're going to use an orange sticky to type who was at war. You're going to use a green sticky to type why the war was such a big deal. And then you're going to use a blue sticky to type the question that you're going to be answering in this Dbq. So let's look at the overview because there's not a audio piece on this. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. Just follow along with your eyes and your ears. Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? Overview. In 1846, the United States went to war with Mexico. Like several wars the United States has fought, this war had its strong supporters and its critics. Compared to the Civil War, which was fought just 15 years later, the Mexican War sometimes seems like a small thing, but it was not. Thousands of Mexicans and Americans died, and half of the country of Mexico was taken by the United States as a war prize. This mini-Q asks the simple question: was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? So there we have our pieces. When did the war happen? 1846. Who was at war? The United States and Mexico. Why was it such a big deal? Well, it says might seem like it was a small thing, but it wasn't. Thousands of Mexicans and Americans died. Half of the country of Mexico was taken by the United States as a war prize. So that's what I'm going to type on my green sticky. And then the last one, the blue sticky to type to answer, the question, to type the question. It's on here twice. Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? So that's the one I'll show you as an example. You'll do the other three, the yellow, the orange, and the green on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my sticky. And it needs to be blue. If I'm answering the first one, I will change it to yellow. If I'm answering the next one, I'll change it to orange. If I'm answering the third one, I'll change it to green, but we're on the first one, so I'm going to change it to blue. And I'm just going to put my answer over here. You can put it over here. You can put it down at the bottom. It doesn't matter. It's going to show up on your assignment. Okay. So where it says click to edit, I want to type the answer, the question that we'll be answering in this DBQ. The United States justified in going to war, with Mexico. Okay, so I'm done with that one. I'm going to resize it, make it a little bit smaller, and then click anywhere on the white. And now that sticky note is there. So what I want you to do right now is pause this tutorial and answer the other three before we move on to the next. All right, so you can see that I've answered the other three on Post-its on the left-hand side there. When did the war happen? 1846. Who was at war? The U.S. and Mexico. Why was the war such a big deal? Thousands of Mexicans and Americans died. Half of Mexico was taken by the U.S. as a war prize. And then we did the last one together. What's the question you're going to be answering? Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? Now, with this first one, I've given you the answers. If you want to pause this tutorial again and fix your work, if it's not the same, then you can do that. I won't always give you the answers, but I'm doing it this time. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Actually, before we move on, you're going to be submitting images on this assignment. So for each page that we do, we're going to take a picture of it and you're going to submit it to me. So that way I know that I need to come to the Dbq Online resource and check your work, give you feedback, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this whole page, so the questions and my answers. So you need to make sure that your answers are in the screenshot so that I can see that you actually did the work. Okay, so wherever your screenshot is, you also too want to make sure that you, you change the name of it to your first and last name. And this is the cover page. Okay, so first and last name and your cover page, and then hold on to that because you're going to be submitting that into your Canvas page. Okay, so I'm going to move this back to the side here and go to the next page. Okay, so let's take a look at our map here and then our task. So using a purple sticky, which we've just done once before, so you should know how to do that. And in your own words, write what happened on April 25th, 1846. So we have right here, these are the events of 1846, April 25th. You're going to read that and then tell me what happened in your own words. So summarize it in your own words, what happened, okay? Now, it says, what river did Texas and the U.S. believe was the proper border between Mexico and Texas? And you're going to use a blue circle to circle the answer on the map. So we're going to use one of our circles and we're going to make sure it's blue. And wherever it is, so we have a river here, the Rio Grande. We can see because it's blue. We always know that water is going to be blue on a map. Rio Grande is the name. Okay, this event, the Thornton Affair, happened right down here. Okay, and then up here we have the Nueces River. I may be saying that wrong, so I apologize. The blue line here has been labeled as Nueces River. We have our key that shows us that the green arrow, so starting up at the top here, moving through Texas to Corpus Christi, and then coming down through this this land here into where this Thornton affair occurred. Okay, and that the diagonal lines show the disputed territory. So that would be the territory that the United States and Mexico both thought was theirs. So that was the land that they wanted for themselves, which is the tip of Texas today. Okay. So we have Mexico on the left, the United States on the right in Texas, and then we have the land that they both think they have claim to in the center here. All right. So the Rio Grande, if we take a look, it says it's boundary claimed by Texas, so the United States. Okay. So boundary claimed. So they're saying that this is all their land, Texas and all of this, and the boundary stops. So where that land stops is the Rio Grande. Whereas Mexico is saying, no, 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 we have all of this land down here and the land going all the way up to the Nueces River, and that is our border here. So Mexico thinks that all of this is theirs, and the United States thinks all of this is theirs. Okay. So the first question is, what river did Texas and the U.S. believe was the proper border? So where did the U.S.? That'd be the Rio Grande. So I'm going to go ahead and take my blue circle and put it over the Rio Grande. Okay. What river did Mexico believe was the proper border? We're going to use a red circle. So I'm going to go back to my circle. I'm going to use the red one. And they thought it was the Nueces River. So I can kind of click and drag. Okay. And then where were General Zachary Taylor and Captain Thornton's soldiers attacked? Well, right around here, right? And we can see if we read it here, the directions say to use the green highlighter, and we're looking for where. So I'm going to go to freehand. I'm going to go to green. It's best to use the lightest one, and then kind of the thickest one. Okay. And it says, on April 25th, 1846, Captain Seth Thornton of the U.S. Army and his 70 soldiers were attacked by a much larger Mexican force. The incident occurred in the disputed territory north of the Rio Grande. So that would be where this event happened. The incident occurred in the disputed territory. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight the incident occurred in the disputed territory north of the Rio Grande. Okay. So once I have that answered, I don't need to do anything else. So we're not going to type anything this time around. If you're very particular and you want to make sure that you type it, I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then I'm going to have you do the purple sticky. So I'm going to stop drawing. I'm going to have you do the purple sticky on your own. And also you're going to do the journalist reporting. So it says, imagine you are a journalist, so you're a reporter. You're reporting about this event that occurred, okay? Create a newspaper headline from each of these perspectives. So if you were an American newspaper, what would the American newspaper headline be based on these events? And if you were a Mexican reporter, what would the Mexican newspaper headline be? Okay, so based on these events. So looking at these events, that's why it's good to read it and then summarize it and then do number 4 because it will be fresh in your mind. Okay, so again, you're going to read this and do your summary and then write your 2 headlines down here. Now to write them, you're going to go to the text. And this would be the same if you want to write your answers for 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to move it down here and resize it. And that's where you'll write your American newspaper headline. And then you'll do the same thing. Go to text. I'm going to move this down here. Since this one is red, I'm going to change this one to blue, or I can change them both to purple or whatever. Okay. Sometimes if they're really close together, it's hard to type, so it might be better to do one underneath and then one next to. Okay. So I'm not going to give you the answer to this one, but you do need to complete the task. So again, we've circled the Rio Grande where the U.S. thought that their land border was, and we've circled the Nueces River, which Mexico thought was their land border, and then we've highlighted where the soldiers were attacked in the reading. So what you're going to do is continue reading the rest of this, and you're going to summarize it here. What does it mean? Retell it, okay? And then you're going to use that to write a pro-American, so people on the side of America, a newspaper headline, and a pro-Mexican, people on the side of Mexico, newspaper headline, down in here using the text, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pause this while you do that, and we'll come back together when you're done. All right, so you should have written your summary and your two headlines, as well as done the things that we've already done together. Again, we need to take a screenshot of this. So I'm going to go ahead and take that screenshot, making sure to include all of my answers into my screenshot. And then I'm going to rename it. I gotta wait for it to disappear in just a second. We're gonna rename it with our first and last name and then hook. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and rename it. First and last name. And then hook. Okay. But once I've done that, I'm ready to move on. All right, so I do need to make this a little bit bigger here so we can see the directions. So let's look at the directions, okay? And again, we can view this in Spanish. You can listen to the reading, okay? So either one of those things, or you can read it silently to yourself. But before you do any of that, let's look at the annotation directions. So we've been practicing this first direction next to each paragraph. So we have paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which continues over here, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so each of those 8 paragraphs, you're going to use the text tool. So the text tool here, and we'll do it in black, just like we have this, so black, to create 2 or 3 hashtags to summarize the paragraph. So this is for the paragraphs. Okay, so I'm going to put it right next to the paragraph here. If I need to make the text a little bit smaller, I can, and I'm going to put my hashtags here. Okay, so 2 to 3 hashtags for each paragraph that summarize what that paragraph was about. Okay, and remember, a hashtag is only 1 or 2 words, maybe 3 words, but that's it, nothing longer than that. So just 2 or 3 words for a hashtag that gives an idea of what that paragraph was about. Okay, that's for each of these 8 paragraphs. Okay, and then you're going to use a blue sticky to write a caption for the map. So here we have the map. Okay, and then we're going to use a sticky, and we can put this sticky over here, and we'll do map 1, and then tell me, what is that map? You're looking at that map? What is it? That's your caption. Okay, what are you looking at? So it looks like this is the land that the United States had control of in 1830, and then the land that the United States had control of in 1848. Okay, so map number 1, and then you'll need another one for map number 2. So again, this looks like we have Mexico down here, the Oregon Territory, which was kind of a fight with British, which looks like we got control of, and then the United States. So we can say land owned, controlled by the United States in 1830 And then you do a caption for map number 2 down here. Okay. Use the red circle to circle any dates. So wherever there are dates, we're going to put a red circle. So here we have the War of 1812. There's a date there, so I'm going to put a circle. 1821, we need another circle. Make sure it's red. 1821. Okay, so all the dates, those are just 2 examples. All the dates you see, put a red circle around. Okay. You're going to use the purple square to square the people and the places. All right, so just kind of scrolling through the first one, people and places that are important to our war with Mexico, right? So the American colonists, they're not important. Vietnam and Iraq is more recently, but that's not important to this. Mexico is important, so I'm going to go ahead and put a purple box around Mexico. Okay. This is why it's a good idea to do this after you read, because you're going to have this all kinds of marked up. Okay. We have Guatemala and Oregon. Those are places I need to put squares around. So you're going to continue. Here we have a name right here, John Slidell. I'm going to want to put, there's Zachary Taylor. I can make this go over here since Zachary Taylor is kind of a long name, goes on to the next line. We have Texas, we have John Slidell. So just make sure that all of the names of people and places, you put a purple square. This is not all of them. This is just me showing you the example. We're going to use a green highlighter on the bolded words, and if we want to find their definition, for example, if we don't know what annexation is, I can click on it, and here's the definition. In U.S. history, adding on a state to the rest of the country. That's what annexation means. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then I'm going to green highlighter, highlight, and then kind of the middle thickness. So the lowest opacity and the middle thickness. And I need to green highlight annexation. And then Protestant Catholic Alamo, Manifest Destiny. Okay, make sure you put a green highlighter on those. And then orange highlighter for the first sentence of each paragraph. So I'm just going to change the color to orange. America's wars have often been controversial. Okay. In 1821, Mexico declared itself free from its mother country. So you're going to continue that for the rest of the paragraphs. Again, these are just examples. It's not all of them. Take this. Okay. And then finally, use a black sticky to type the question you will be answering in this Dbq, which is on here twice. It's right here and it's right here. Okay, so again, you're just going to retype those same questions just like we did on the blue sticky previously in the cover. Okay, so the blue sticky, we just typed the same question that's here and it was here. You're going to do the same thing on the black sticky here, which you can put over here next to your map captions. Okay, so at this point, go ahead and pause the tutorial, finish the rest of these. Again, all I've done is given you examples. You can view it in Spanish, you can listen to it, or you can read it to yourself, any one of those. When you are done, go ahead and restart this tutorial and we'll continue on. All right, so you should have this entire thing marked up. It should be a mix of hashtags and sticky notes and boxes and circles and highlights and all of that nonsense. Should be all colored in kind of stuff. So once this is all done, again, all I gave you was the first couple to help you. You should do the rest on your own. Now we need to take a picture of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my screenshot. I don't need the directions. I want to make sure I have all of my answers here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. And then I'm going to rename this with my first and last name. Hello. No, I don't want it open. Sorry. First and last name. And then background essay. Okay, so again, we've got these built up. We're going to be submitting all of these to this assignment to be able to move on. All right. So now that I've got my screenshot for this, I'm ready to move on to the next page. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the next arrow. And here we have what we call bucketing. All right. So I'm not going to give you the answers to this one this time around. I'm going to go ahead and move this over actually. I'm just trying to resize it so that we can see what it says over here. Okay, so understanding the questions and pre-bucketing. We have our 3 questions, and then I have clarification over here for each of them to help you with answering them. So it says, number 1, what is the analytical question asked by the mini Q? In other words, what is the actual question the DBQ is asking you word for word? So we've already written it twice. If you don't remember, it's written right up here. Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? So using my red text, and I'm going to resize it. You're going to type that right here. Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? That's the actual question that this DBQ is asking you. So you're going to go ahead and type that here. Okay. In a new tab, use dictionary.com to help you find the definition. What is the meaning of justified? So I can go to my new tab. Definition of justified. Okay. And it says, having done for or marked by a good or legitimate reason, declared or made righteous in the sight of God. And if you remember, manifest destiny means that the United States felt like it could take over all of that land because God said that they could. But in this case, we're really more talking about, was it okay? Were they justified in doing this? Did they have the right? Did they have a good reason? Okay, so again, having done for or marked by a good reason. So did they do this for a good reason? So you're going to type that definition using blue text this time. Right here. So what does justified mean? And again, use that dictionary definition to help you. Okay. And then question number 3, rewrite the question in your own words. So pretend you are speaking to someone younger than you who doesn't understand this question. Okay. They don't understand what justified means. All right. How would you restate the question using kid-friendly words? So how would you restate this question? Was the United States justified in going to war with Mexico? You're going to restate that right here using your purple text. Okay. Come on. There we go. All right. So again, pretend you're speaking to someone younger. How would you restate the question? Okay. And you're going to type that here. So we have our actual question, what this word means, and restating the question in easier terms. All right. So go ahead and pause this tutorial and do that piece now. Okay, now our pre-bucketing, we're going to look at our claim. So here's our claim. Either we believe that the United States was justified in going to war with Mexico, or we believe that the United States was not justified in going to war with Mexico. Either or, either the red or the blue. They were justified or they were not. You're going to use a green circle to circle the bucket that you agree with. So green, and whatever one you agree with, you're going to put your circle around it, either there or there. Okay, so go ahead and pause the tutorial and do that. All right, now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You need to do these on your own. Whatever you answered here, you're going to give me a reason, 3 reasons. These are your supporting reasons why you think that is correct. Okay, so reason 1, using orange text, reason 2, using purple text, and reason 3, using green text. So my text, I'm going to change it to orange. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to drag it to down here and type my first reason. Now here's a trick. I can copy this box and then move it over here and change the color to purple. And then I can copy this box and move it over here and change it to green. Okay, so again, you're going to go ahead and answer these. So in each bucket, type a reason to support the bucket you circled above. So whichever one you circled up here, give me 3 reasons why you believe that, and use evidence from what we've already done with the Mexican conflict and westward movement and what you learned from the background essay. Okay, so again, what you learned from the background essay and what we've already talked about in class, use that to help you to come up with your support in the buckets down below. Okay, when you are done with this, you are going to take a screen capture of this as well. Okay, so I'm going to take a screen capture of this when I'm done. And then we're going to rename this with our first and last name and then pre-bucketing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. There it is up here. First and last name and then pre-bucketing. Okay, so what you are going to be submitting to me, and this is once you're done with the pre-bucket, this is where we're going to stop. Okay, once you've done this for today, you are done, and we're going to take a little break until tomorrow, where we will move on to document A. So this is where we're going to pause. All right, what you are going to submit to me, I'm going to go ahead and put this back over here. What you are going to submit to me so that I know to look at your work and give you feedback in the Dbq Online is you're going to submit each of these 4 screenshots. So I should see a total of 4 screenshots that are each labeled with your first and last name. So the cover page, the hook, the background essay, and the pre-bucketing with your first and last name. That is what you are going to submit to me, and that's going to tell me to go back and look at your work in the Dbq Online resource. Okay, so again, don't take your screenshots until you finished all of the work, and then once you finished all the work, take your screenshot and then submit that into Canvas. Don't submit until all 4 are done. In the next tutorial, we'll be looking at documents A and B, but for now, we're going to go ahead and take a pause until tomorrow. All right.